Wednesday, September 1st, 2021. First piece of is old business, EPC 26-2021. Dominic De Matea, 72 Deepwood, proposing pool construction in an upland review area. The site is shown on assessor's map number 26 as lot number 27. The commission members should have a draft of the approval, and I think it's gone through the Millard edits, so I think we have a good one. I think we have a clean copy here. Are there any comments or questions from the commissioners? No? Okay, then Jim, if you could propose a motion to approve EPC 26-2021.
Yes, Eric, I'd like to make that motion to approve EPC 26-2021 with respect to 72 Deepwood Road.
Okay. Bill Wright, can I have a second?
Yes, I second that.
Okay, without objection, so moved. Next item of business is EPC 25-2021. Brandon and Megan Colbelt, 54 Gardner Street, proposing a replacement house and related construction area in an upland review area. This site is shown on assessor's map number 45 as lot number 124. The commission members have a draft, and I believe it's gone through the Millard edit process. So are there any questions or comments? No? Okay, Jim, may I have a motion to approve EPC 25-2021?
Yes, sir. I'm happy to make a motion to approve the conditional approval as drafted for EPC 25-2021 with respect to 54 Gardner Street.
Thank you. Bill Wright, can I have a second, please?
I'll second that.
Okay. Without objection, so approved. 54 Gardner. Next piece of business is new business. EPC 30-2021. Thomas and Jane Kearns, 31 Hancock Road, proposing a substantial addition and alteration to a house and related grading and construction in an upland review area. The site is shown on assessor's map number 2 as lot number 75. And representing the applicant is Mr. Flaherty.
That's me. Good evening. My name is Craig Flaherty. I'm a professional engineer licensed in the state of Connecticut. I'm a principal and senior engineer with Redness and Mead, a land use consulting company with offices in Stamford and Wilton. I'm here on behalf of the Kearns, who are recent owners of 31 Hancock Lane. And as you noticed, Mr. Chairman, just to correct the agenda that had previously been published, this is not a replacement house, but it is an existing house with some removals and additions, and I'll go over those now. I'm hoping you'll see this project as I see it, which is, oh, sorry, sharing the wrong screen, I think. Let me stop sharing. Stop sharing. Let me try that one more time. That's the screen I want to share. All right. I hope you see it as I do, which is a project that is going to have a positive net benefit on the adjacent downstream wetlands and water courses. Very specifically, you see here on our color plan the existing condition for 31 Hancock Lane. This is just east of Hollow Tree Ridge Road on Hancock Lane. You see in clear light blue, the Stony Brook cuts through the middle of the property. You've got the existing drive on the east side of the property leading to a detached garage quite proximate to the brook. And the driveway, in fact, pretty much abuts the brook on that north edge. You've got the existing residence and patio on the east side of the property here. And you also have an existing in-ground pool between the existing residence and the brook. A fair amount of the property today maintained as lawn. So I'm going to toggle between the existing condition and the proposed condition to give you a sense of the changes that are going to be made. So it's existing, and here is proposed. So you will note very quickly, if you focus on the garage and the driveway here by the brook and the pool, that as I toggle to the proposed condition, those elements all go away. So the driveway is pulled back from the edge of the brook. The detached garage is removed, and a new attached garage is created closer to the main dwelling. The pool is removed and not replaced. And then there's some additions around the main dwelling. A lot of the additions have to do with the desire by the applicant to have a master bedroom down. He's an older gentleman and just at the right life stage for that choice. So we have a lot of pluses and minuses on that main living floor to make it usable for the new owner. So at the end of the day, we've got a net reduction in impervious coverage of something like 1,600 square feet, immediately improving drainage conditions off the property. We are moving some of these hardscape improvements like the garage and the drive and the pool farther away from the resource. The pool is gone entirely. The other things that happen are the existing septic system is actually set in groundwater and it's not doing very well. We've got to replace it. So we end up replacing the septic system with a code complying upgraded system that will function better than the one that's out there today. In addition to all these items, we do have a landscape plan, a little harder to see virtually here on the screen, but you've got it in your paper packets if you've been looking at it. But very specifically, we focused on 2 mitigation areas to provide more ecologically friendly plantings, or at least not maintained lawn. So we have a planting bed here where there used to be driveway adjacent to the brook for hayseed ferns and 3 flowering dogwoods. And then we focused on the area downstream of this proposed addition being really kind of new area and the new septic system. So there's a number of shrubs and trees and ferns, again, being planted in that vicinity as well to augment the buffer to the brook and kind of repopulate that wetland with more natural plantings. So that's, I think, pretty much the sum total of how we feel about the new improvements as they might relate to the resource. I should note, just for full disclosure here, although we've got a wetland setback indicated on the plan, it's just the 50-foot wetland setback. And of course, as you know, the Stony Brook has a 100-foot upland review area associated with it, not a 50-foot one. I don't think that really affects the net positives you gain from this application. But I thought I ought to point it out since it wasn't correctly indicated on this exhibit. And I'm here for your questions.
Good, thank you. I'll start with Bill Wright.
I'm very interested in what happened during that 6.5 inches of rain in that location. Obviously, it's in a low area there, and it's been very channeled. But can you tell me what happened on the property when that occurred, and also what happened on the street?
Yeah, so the applicants were not in-house during that storm, so I have no observations from the storm. I do have observations from the storm for the property to the south at 21 Hancock, I think it is, or just across the street, the Morgan residence. I actually have some video there. Their flooding wasn't as bad as it had been in the past, and it was largely confined to a little bit more than the brook. We've done an association with our planning and zoning application. We've done a very detailed flood study here because FEMA doesn't assign an elevation to this location. It's too far afield from the main river where they actually have assigned elevation. So we actually went through the process of doing a flood study to figure out the watershed to this property and coming up with a flood elevation. The flood elevation, even in the 100-year event, is predicted only just to lap up against the edge of the house. The house is never flooded in the past. So, I would guess that based on the stuff that I saw for the property just to the south, you might have had water coming up over the banks, but probably not any closer to the house than the pool.
Okay, because it does make a really right-hand corner there. So I'm surprised. I guess that retaining wall back, holding it back.
Exactly. That's a pretty stout retaining wall. I don't know if you've seen it in the field, but it's a good at least 6 to 8 feet tall. Was built by some prior owner to serve that purpose of making sure the brook was deflected from the house.
And how about the road? Were there's 3 culverts down at the end? You don't think it went over the road down at the end as well?
Yeah, it has gone over the road in the past. Back in the 2007 storms, it went over the road. I don't have confirmation of whether or not it went over the road in.
I guess the only reason I'm bringing this up is Stony Brook took, downstream. It really wiped a lot of places out, and this is a tributary to that up there. So I'm just concerned. I don't know if there's any way to improve that. Obviously, that's been channeled out so dramatically, there's probably no way to slow it down. But I guess what the other item is that with only 25 feet from the wetland zone is the new sewer, new septic. And if that gets flooded over the top, I don't know how that operates, but I can't imagine having a lot of water over the top of the septic is good for a septic efficiency system. So. I don't know. I mean, I wish you could push that septic back further. And I guess there is no sewer systems up there. There's no town sewer systems on that road.
No, the town sewer is not close.
Okay.
We did indicate on the more technical civil engineering document where we're predicting the 100-year flood elevation on the property. So it's right at the edge of that system. And that's again the 100-year storm. Not these slightly less intense storms that we've been seeing, although they've been pretty intense. So I wouldn't expect that a storm like July would.
What did they consider that? Do you know what that one was considered in our year?
Yeah. So every storm, let me say it this way: every watershed has its own critical storm. So when you have a larger watershed, a storm has to rain for a longer period of time in order for all of that water to get to some common downstream point. If you've got a smaller watershed, critical storm could be a very intense thunderstorm that only lasts for an hour because that's the critical storm for that watershed. So every watershed's a little bit different. But I would say for the Stony Brook watershed, which is larger, it was something that was more like a 25-year event that we saw on July 9th. For some smaller, flashier watersheds, it was more because it actually, if you remember, it rained like a couple inches the night before, and then it stopped overnight, and then it rained like 4.5 inches in 3 hours that morning.
The only other comment I have is because you're only 25 feet from the wetland, it would be nice if that whole wetland area was populated down. I'm talking about the south section was populated. You've done a section of it, that's good, but it'd be nice if you populated it all the way to the wetland line and then put some demarcation there that would be permanently not go back into lawn.
Okay, so somewhere between the septic system and our proposed plantings on the landscape plan, you would like to see physical demarcation.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I think that would be amenable to doing something like that. I wouldn't want to do a fence for it. Would kind of might be its own obstruction, but maybe some artfully placed boulders might work in this scenario.
Yeah, thanks. That's all I have. Thank you.
Michael Irvin?
Appreciate the applicants.
Your
Can't hear
volume is very low.
I'll talk louder. So Craig, I appreciate the applicant's design and I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim Millard?
Consistent with Commissioner Irvin's thoughts, I have no additional comments, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. For me, Jeremy mentioned that this is going to go in front of Planning and Zoning on September 14th, and it will be a public hearing. So this, because it's a substantial alteration and addition, it's not a replacement house. And also, from my view, he's reducing the impervious surface and reducing the encroachment in the upland review area. You know, I don't think it's necessary to have a public hearing from our perspective, because I think there's net good coming out of this. And so, I think that if there are other issues, they can be appropriately raised in Planning and Zoning, and they can manage them. Is that fair, Jeremy? Okay. So, unless there's another commissioner who would like to speak, I think we'll draft it up. We'll draft it up for the next meeting. Thank you much. Thank you very much, Craig.
Yep. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.
Okay.
Quick question. Is that application, Jeremy, going to Planning and Zoning for filling and grading?
It's going because it's work in the flood zone, Michael. I think there's because there's doing some of the work in the flood zone there.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, the next item is EPC 31, 2021. Bob Johnston and Susan Latimer, 19 Meadowbrook Road, proposing culvert replacement within the Tokenique Brook. The site is shown on Assessor's Map number 14 as lot number 9. Is that Doug?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Fred, got the screen? Yep, thank you. There we go. Okay, let's get this over. Okay, good evening. My name is Doug DeVesta, professional engineer, represent the applicant. What we have before you tonight is a head wall. I'll show you some pictures. First, I'll give you an idea where the property is located. Here's Brookside Road. Here is Meadowbrook Road, which is a private road with a number of houses on it, with about 8-10 houses on it. It's got the Tokenique Brook that comes through it, which starts up close to Three Wells Lane, goes under Ridge Acres, Molly Lane, Sullivan, and it parallels Birch Road, goes through a couple of small ponds in there. This is Cherry Lawn to the pond, and then come on down. And the blue circle here is where the property, where the Tokenique Brook comes through, and underneath the road, which is actually a true driveways that services the house on the north and the south of it, of the property. And this is the, wait a minute, I lost that one. Okay. So what I'd like to do right now is go through a presentation of some slides that we took of the area, so you can get an idea of what we're looking at doing here. This is looking to the east over the culvert. This is the end wall. So to the right is the south end of the end wall. To the north is the head wall. There's plates over here for the road is collapsing. The next slide is looking west across the driveway, serving the two houses. The next photo is the culverts. You'll see this is the Tokenique Brook. You've got 3 barrels of 36-inch reinforced concrete pipe, or RCP. This is the end wall. Next slide here, you're showing that the wall is starting to crumble down from the easterly pipe. This is the most easterly pipe. Looking through it, it's in good condition. This is the stone from the end wall that's blocking it. This is the middle pipe. Looking through at this end, the pipe all looks like it's in good condition. And this is the westerly pipe looking back up to the north. This is again looking east at that crumbling part of the end wall. Looking now we're on the head wall looking south. So you can see the 3 barrels. The middle barrel pipe has fallen down, has not cracked or anything like that. Looks like what's happened is that this is the easterly pipe again. This is the center pipe. Looks like what's happened is that over time, the brook has now eroded the material underneath the pipe itself, caused the pipe to drop, and caused the road above it to have a sinkhole in it. And then this is another picture of it. You can sort of see the pipe is in good condition. You can see the pipe going to the south that's still in good condition, but you can see the road the head wall has collapsed and the dirt behind has fallen out, which is causing that sinkhole up on the driveway, the road itself. The next one is the westerly pipe. It's also in good condition. You can see that some of the dirt around the pipe is starting to erode away. If you go back one slide, you'll see that when these pipes were put in, they put it right next to each other. Really no area to compact the material around it or get it around the sides and on the bottom of the pipe itself. So over time, this has eroded and caused it to collapse. The next picture is just an overall view looking down at the pipe, and you can see how much is eroded and how much has fallen down on the pipe. And then the head wall is not in the best of conditions. And then this is looking north off the head wall itself, looking up Tokenique Brook. And then this is looking south on the Tokenique Brook as well. So our proposal is to remove and replace the 3 reinforced concrete pipe, construct a footing underneath the inlet and the outlet of the pipe, and then with concrete, and then place the pipes back on it, and then backfill it. And so therefore, we're reusing the pipes that are out at the site, and then repacking the dirt around it with a 2-foot gap in between the pipes, so we can get a good compaction like that. Bring it all the way back up to a final grade, and then repave the driveway as it's as it is right now. We're also proposing to put a modified riprap in front of the pipe, and then modify intermediate riprap on the outlet side to keep the erosion down and to provide some additional protection. This proposal is also to provide a temporary sandbag dam on the upland, on the inlet side of the pipe itself. And if in the event there's any more water flowing through here, then pump it around to a dewatering pit area that will be constructed with hay bales with riprap inside it. The water will come in here, slow the velocity down, take any sediment out, and allow it to trickle back out into the brook. Provide double row silt fence on the downhill side of the head wall to protect it from erosion. And then there's also a tree right at the corner of the head wall that would have to be removed and reconstructed. We looked at several options for the head wall and end wall. One was do a poured concrete wall, time consuming, very difficult to go around the 3 pipes. We also looked at precast head walls, I talked to a precast manufacturer, and the time to build this would be 6 to 8 to 10 weeks, if not longer, to come out. Also, the size would be very massive. We need to bring a crane in there. If you've been down this road, there's not a lot of room to have a crane and have an 18-wheeler truck in here and be able to pick it up and turn it 180 degrees and put it in place. So what we're proposing to do is, again, the head wall, end wall, were both constructed out of stone. We're looking to have a masonry stone head wall and end wall to construct it, sort of keeping in the character that's out there right now. That's really our proposal, to just, again, replace the pipe in the same location, maybe a little wider apart, to fix the sinking hole, to fix the sinkhole in the road and redo the head walls. It appears that these head walls were constructed back in the early 90s when the houses in this area were developed. So they've been around since in the early 90s. So they've been around for 30 plus years now. So we feel, that they probably had this life expectancy. So that's basically the project. If there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Okay, I'll start with Michael Irvin.
I have no questions.
No questions. Bill Wright?
Yeah, I think I read it in there, but just to confirm with you, you're going to be able to have the bottom of that pipe at grade so that water could flow through it at all times. It wouldn't be going over a lip. Is that right? Both sides?
Correct.
That's a good feature. I appreciate it. Even with a riprap, that will not curtail a frog from going from one end to the other anytime if they want. Okay, great. Thanks. That's all I have.
Jim?
I can envision an application like we've just learned here, Mr. Chairman, for another application we saw a couple of years ago, which may be coming back before us. But I have no questions. I can see the benefits to both homeowners, not only the one that is conducting, not only the applicant, but just the downstream and the upstream. It looks well conceived to me.
Yeah, I'll add, for me, this is a safety issue because obviously, you don't want to drive your family in a car over this where, the bridge could literally collapse and talk about issues. So, and I think Doug's solution is excellent, coming up with the culvert. And so, as far as I'm concerned, this is a go. The only thing I add, and I'll speak to the adjacent homeowners adjacent to the river. They should be careful about putting brush and leaves along the side of the stream, because when you have a major event like we're going to have tonight, or I can hear it outside anyway, that we're going to have, that'll wash in and block up the stream and things like this, and that's the last thing you want on a night like tonight. So if the homeowner could just be aware of that, both homeowners on the north and the south, I would appreciate. Jeremy, you want to write up the draft for that for approval for next?
Sure, we'll put together an approval for next month.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, guys.
Okay, moving on. The next item of business is EPC 32-2021 91 FMRR LLC, 91 5 Mile River Road, proposing a replacement house and related grading construction in an upland review area. This site is shown on Assessor's Map number 66 as lot number 20. Who's representing the applicant?
I'm asking. Lee?
No.
Andy Simulidis.
Andy, are you?
Excuse me. I'm here. Hello. Good evening, Andy Simulidis, Principal and Professional Engineer with Landtech in Westport, on behalf of the owners of 91 5 Mile River. The property is bounded by 5 Mile River Road on the west, residences to the north, east, and south, and the southeast corner of the property, about 3 feet, abuts the 5 Mile River. So it has about 3 feet of frontage along the river. It's one of those peculiar corner type situations. The property is an existing single family residence with detached garage. The property is serviced by city water and sewer. And the proposal is to demo the existing house garage and build a new FEMA compliant single family residence. Here you'll see the proposal for a new single family residence with an attached garage. Driveway is coming off Almont River Road in the same general vicinity, central to the house, with garages both to the north and south. The proposal also includes a new pool and patio in the rear of the property. I'd like to point out a portion of the property is within the flood zone. This boundary here delineates to the east of that line is flood zone VE15, a high velocity flood zone. To the west of that line is flood zone AE13. And then this flood zone line here indicates to the east of that 13 that we just mentioned, and that to the west of that, it's flood zone X. So basically no flood zone beyond that limit. The proposed house will be entirely outside the flood zone. A small portion of the proposed patio and a portion of the pool will be within that flood zone AE13. The proposed single-family house will be at elevation 16.5, which is above the VE of 15 also, even though it doesn't need to adhere to those FEMA guidelines, it is still elevated in such a position. The house will also be outfitted with a basement as well, because since we're outside the flood zone, that would be allowed. In terms of drainage improvements on the existing lot, there are currently none. As you guys are aware, when you are within a coastal area, it's more prudent to provide water quality versus the reduction of runoff for the 50-year storm. And that's what this proposal demonstrates. The required water quality volume for this proposal of all new impervious surfaces, which includes your driveway, patios, pool, and the roof area, equates to the requirement of 860 cubic feet of water quality volume. We're proposing 10 Coltech 330s, those plastic chambers, which is wrapped in fabric and stone, providing 935 cubic feet of water quality storage. The overflow and all of the drainage currently on the site flows to the southeast corner of the property and into the Falmouth River. It does not flow over adjacent properties, and the overflow from this new proposed drainage system will do just that as well. It'll flow overland over into the corner and into Falmouth River.
Doug?
The proposed house will also be serviced by
Question. Do you have
water and sewer. And what we've also added to this proposal, this small corner below the seawall here, there are some tidal wetlands. And what we did was added a planting area of Northern Bay Area, 10-foot planted buffer just along that corner to further protect it. It is already pretty densely vegetated, but we've added some additional measures.
Oh, they're right alongside the same. Okay. Okay.
So that in a nutshell is our proposal. I'm here to answer any questions. As Jeremy will allude to, this will need to go before the P&Z Commission for a CAM site plan approval, which will most likely need a public hearing.
Yep, Jeremy just agreed with you. And has that been scheduled yet, or?
No, they're probably going to submit. It'll probably be October, November.
Okay, in the October-November framework. Okay, do you want to point out exactly, Andy, where our area of jurisdiction is?
Sure. There is a 100-foot from the coastal resources.
Right. Right.
So that's this corner. That's this dashed line here.
Yep.
So a portion of the existing house, patios are within it, but predominantly you can see in this area, it's mostly all lawn area. What really falls within that is the pool and patio. in the corner of the garage.
Okay. Okay, let's get some questions and comments from Bill Wright,
I don't have any.
Michael Urban.
Similarly, I don't have any questions at this time. Thank you.
Okay, Jim Millard.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, help me if you would. The very significant dotted line, I think it's 100-foot setback, 100-foot camera view area that, yes, includes the pool. Most of the patio cuts through a corner of the garage and the corner of the house. Help me understand that. Maybe it's Jeremy or somebody better at this than I am. That's a big area to me. I'm just looking to be educated.
Right. Want me to take that?
Yep.
There's no inland wetlands on the property. The reason they're before APC is because all the work is within 100 feet of this little, I'll call it this, as Andy said, the southeast corner where that seawall is.
Okay.
So that, as I said, is the only wetland near the property, and they show that little corner with a new planted area of bayberry. It's right near the flagpole. If you've been out to the site, the flagpole, I think, is on the adjacent property, but they're going to put some plantings in here near the corner. The rest of the yard is lawn, and they're going to be putting the pool about, you have a 25-foot rear yard setback here, I believe. It's in the R1.5 zone. So you got a rear yard 25.5. And then, so the pool looks to be about 30, 40 feet from the edge of the seawall. And other than that, it's just grading, and they're putting in the water quality also in the backyard. The Caltech units to address water quality prior to draining into the Buckmile River.
Jeremy, thank you. Apologize for my naivete. I'm just wanted to be sure that I was understanding it better than I originally was. Thank you so much.
Yep, there's a lot of lines on the map, but the big lines are the drainage lines flowing into the water quality Caltex.
Yep. Jeremy, just want to make sure that the plantings are Connecticut's native species.
Yes.
Okay.
The northern bayberry.
I got it. Okay, that's good. That's good. All right. If there aren't any more questions or comments, Jeremy, if you wouldn't mind writing up a draft for next month.
We'll have something ready for October.
Great.
Draft resolution for October.
Great.
I appreciate it. We'll plan on submitting tomorrow, Jeremy, for the CAM. Just an FYI. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. The next piece of business is EPC 33-2021, Town of Darien Parks and Recreation Department, 40 West Avenue, Tilly Pond, proposing dredging a sediment pond. The site is shown on Assessor's Map number 17 as lot number 87. Pam, that's you.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me. I unfortunately don't have any slides to share. I didn't come prepared with that, although Jeremy said that it wasn't needed, but I did give you a packet full of documents, including pictures and a site map for the dredging of the small sediment pond at Tilly Pond Park. And as you all may well know, that sediment pond is it's a pond that's built to capture eroded or disturbed soil during rainstorms that ultimately helps protect the water quality of the big pond. So it has been 1999 was the last time it was dredged. And we simply want to have our contractor scoop out the sediment about 3 to 4 feet down. And we want to place the sediment on the actual property where I've indicated that on the map where they did the same location in 1999. And we want to let the sediment dry, and then we'll have it tested. And if it comes back fine, the results are fine, our park crew would like to take the sediment and spread it across the property where there are holes that can be filled with it anywhere it's needed on the property. And our park supervisor, Jim Flynn, feels that it's necessary. If it doesn't come back tested well, then we do have to remove it from the site. And I don't know if Troy is on the call. He said he was going to take time If
Yes,
Troy
I'm
is
here.
there. Okay, great. So Troy, the contractor, is here from Deering Construction, if you have any questions for him.
Okay. Bill Wright, we'll start with you.
Looks good to me.
It's good to you. Michael Urban.
Judge away.
Jim Millard.
I was there today. I go by that route all the time to get from town up to our home, and very supportive of having that work and function properly to support Tilly Pond and the whole flow of water. All in favor.
Yes, I agree. I'm totally in favor of it. It should be dredged, particularly with, such rain events that we're having, that we've had earlier this year and certainly having tonight. So, Pam, as you know, I'm a go on this one also. Please draft it up, Jeremy, and we'll
vote in October.
vote in October. Okay, thank you very much.
Everybody, and thanks, Troy, for coming on the call.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, the next one is EPC 34, 2021. Trust for Descendants of Eugene G. Bucas III, 92 Half Mile Road, proposing site grading and construction within an upland review area related to a replacement house. The site is shown on Assessor's Map number 2 as lot number 24. So I believe that's you, Counselor?
Yeah, I guess that would be me. For the record, Robert Maslin, the attorney for the applicant. With me this evening are Garrett Bucas is here. I thought I saw his name, who is one of the principals of the owner trust. I guess he's a trustee. Doug DeVesta and Alexandra Mock are both here. You know them. What I thought I'd do, since the feedback I'm getting so far is we're going for a public hearing on this. I have a PowerPoint presentation. I think it's on your screen now. I'll go through this quickly myself, and if questions come up along the way, Doug and Alex are here to answer them, if that's okay with you, Mr. Chairman.
Robert?
Yes.
I think because it's a replacement house and a subdivision, I think we are going to go to public hearing on this. I'll get a vote from my commissioners at a later date. Jeremy mentioned that I think we were going to have, and because it was going to go to public hearing, we were going to have an independent review.
Yeah, we're going to see if Joe Canis is available to look at the drainage issues.
Yep.
and grading. You have a 2-lot subdivision, new houses going in. I think that will help move this along more efficiently. We got a good drainage report for engineer Doug DeVesta that Joe can look through.
Yep.
And hopefully if we go to hearing in, say, October, we can have Joe's report ready, have Joe ready at the next meeting to talk a little bit about it. I did mention that to Bob prior to the meeting. He said certainly he can show you a couple things. If you have any comments or suggestions tonight, ideas, concepts that you want him to include, or thoughts right off the top of your head, that'd be helpful to him and his team.
That's great. So thank you, Jeremy. Bob, why don't you give us a quick overview if any of the commissioners have questions or comments they'd like to be addressed during the public hearing, that'd be great. And so the floor is yours.
Okay, thanks. I'll be quick. First slide is just a kind of an overview of the project. What we need from the EPC are two things, really. One is a report to the Planning and Zoning Commission, because this is a subdivision that involves a wetland area and a water course, and the subdivision statutes require some kind of report from the Wetlands Agency. It can be in a form of an approval of the license to do the grading and retaining wall that's in the upland review area. Can be that simple. What we're actually doing here is demolishing the existing residence, dividing the property into 2 lots. What's in your jurisdiction are a small area of regrading and a retaining wall that's out pretty close to the end of the 50-foot upland review area from the wetland boundary. And then, of course, new stormwater and new subsurface sewer disposal systems, i.e. septic systems, both of which are entirely outside the regulated areas. This is an aerial of the neighborhood that the property is in. I'll just kind of zoom in a little bit. The houses and existing boundaries are outlined in blue. If you look over this little squiggly line is the water course I've been talking about. It's between a pond across Hollow Tree Ridge and another pond down here on the property across Half Mile Road. So you'll see as we get into some more of the photographs, this is anything but a natural water course. Both sides are an expansive lawn, been that way for many years. This is from Alexandra's report. It's just another close-up. You get an idea of how this little water course runs, and you can see the extent of lawn down in this whole side of the property. Close-up views of the water course itself. Nothing really spectacular. Oops. This is from, well, let me just back up. This picture is from the Half Mile Road end looking upstream. This is the same place really, but looking up through the culvert or toward the culvert and across Half Mile Road. And this is the other end of it, looking downstream from the Hollow Tree Ridge Road end. And this is in the middle of the yard, again, looking downstream. Hollow Tree Ridge is over here. Half Mile Road's down here. Existing site plan, you'll see house right smack in the middle of the site. There's a swimming pool here behind the house. And these contours indicate a slope down from the upper, I guess, northeast toward the southwest. The wetlands have been flagged here and surveyed. Alexandra did that fairly recently. The wetland boundaries are shown here on the survey, and Jeff did the survey. He marked the 50-foot upland review area over here, and then there's a corresponding area down on the other side, but the only activity down there is some upgraded landscaping. So that's the existing condition, circular driveway running through, just under 5 acres of land. The plan is to divide the property in two with a line running roughly north-south, dividing into 2 lots. And as you'll see in the site plan, we have a house that's being proposed on parcel C1 and a conceptual development on C2, but that is not in the cards right now. That's for future, basically feasibility or just a concept. Okay, Doug colored up the site plan. This is the same site plan that's in the application materials. Pretty close to the existing driveway. New house, a little bit to the west of the existing house, in-ground pool behind, and septic, primary and secondary systems along in here, all outside the 50-foot upland review area. The 50-foot upland review area is this line where I got the laser pointer tracking here, and you'll see the extent of activity that needs a permit is basically to the left of this line. And that amounts to some grading up to the silt fence, which is here with the X's, and of course this retaining wall. All right, drainage down closer to the street. On the east lot, new septic in the back, again, concept, and a concept house with a driveway coming in pretty much the same location, the existing curb cut house and swimming pool, drainage down toward the street. And finally, Alexandra's plan, all of this green is upgraded landscaping. It is in the wetland area here. This line here is the wetland boundary. This part here will stay as lawn, and then all of this is getting beefed up. And here's your planting list. If you have specific questions about it, I'll let Alexandra answer them because I can't even pronounce some of these names. I took 2 years of Latin in high school, but that was a long time ago. And that's pretty much it. I tried not to take too much time. So if anybody's got questions, comments, or anything you'd like to see when we come back for the public hearing, we're happy to address those now, or you can talk to Jeremy if you think of something later. I almost said Rich, but no longer with us here in Darien, enjoying retired life, I guess. So that's it. Any questions?
Okay, Bill Wright, you want to start?
Yeah. I just have one suggestion, or maybe you could inquire this in, is some kind of a demarcation line along the wetland area so that in future folks don't creep the lawn back again. Something that would, rocks or something that would just give us a nice look, but still kind of prevent it easily from lawn creeping back into that area that you're going to create a nice meadow. I think that's fantastic. So that's my only comment.
Okay, we'll note that, and if there's not something already in the plan, we'll see what we can come up for you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Michael Irvin?
So Commissioner Wright, to quote Craig Flaherty, you'd like to see some artfully placed boulders in the buffer.
Yeah, that's a better way to say it, I guess. Yes.
Yeah, but
I concur. I have no further questions.
There's no
Okay.
such thing, artfully placed boulder. We'll come up with something.
Well, it doesn't have to look like I-95. No, that would not look good.
Not good.
Okay,
It's a better look.
thank you, Jim.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I don't know that I should take much time of this meeting, but I'd like to, at some point with Attorney Maslin, sit and talk about the 4 years of Latin that I took in high school. Thoroughly enjoyed every minute of it, and have some, probably he and I could compare notes and have stories that would be quick to mind.
Well, you can have the exam. You can have the exam, Jim, of reading off the Latin names of the and we'll see
Alexandra's plantings.
those 4 years paid off.
I think they did.
I'll enlarge them.
And we'll let
Would that be a
Alexander be
condition
the
of the
judge, so we have a
application?
neutral observer.
The only other, again, apology I offered to tie up this good meeting of good people is all of us have spent many years in the town of Darien. Myself is 37. And all of us, probably as we drive around or ride bikes or raise our children here, have a home or two that jumps out and is one of our favorites. This is one of mine and has been for many, many, many years, driving Half Mile Road often, Hollow Tree Ridge Road often. I think it's a beautiful home and a gorgeous setting, and I don't know, it just feels, maybe I'm getting older as this plan is submitted, and I understand why. And I think its presentation is first class, pretty much as usual. And I look forward to next steps here on this, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you. One is, I think Alexandra's come up with an excellent plan of planting there, bringing that back to native vegetation. Alexandra, my one question, and you please don't have to answer it now, is in your report you said that the brook is, sort of goes where it goes. It has it's been eroded. The banks are not very secure, or etc. What would you recommend? Would you recommend just let it be? Is there something we could do to improve the situation?
Alexandra Mark for the record. I think when we're going to turn this slowly into a meadow, and we're going to keep introducing and adding those deeply rooted species, this will really, really help and make a difference. I'm not sure whether or not we are ready to armor this with stone. I think maybe this is just going too far. And the reason why the brook is struggling right now is because the lawn is not really supporting the banks, because the root system is too shallow, and that's why the banks are collapsing. But as soon as we're going to have something taller and deeper rooted, I believe that the brook is going to take care of it by itself, and some of the areas are going to be eroded, but then eventually it will become very stable, and just the new vegetation is going to be creating the support and filter needed.
Thank you for that answer. Is another commissioner that would like to say something before we move on? And because this will be, we'll see your team, Bob, next October.
I think it's Wednesday, October 7th, I believe.
Wednesday, October 7th.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
okay. Thank you very much, Bob, Doug, and Alexandra.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
The next item of business is EPC 35-2021.
Sorry about that.
6th. Okay, October 6th. James and Margaret Hadley, 19 Harbor Road, proposing swimming pool construction in an upland review area. The site is shown on assessor's map number 56 is lot number 20. Who's representing? I guess Sean. Sean Walters, you're representing the applicant.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the board. Thank you for your time. Sean Walters, landscape architect, working with Wagner Pools on this project. I would like to share my screen. Thank you. Pardon me. And we'll jump right in here. I've provided a set of working drawings for the project, and this first graphic here gives you a overall view of the site, and most notably you can see that the proposed work area is situated between two recently flagged wetlands. And it should be noted that the wetland to the north is currently all planted lawn, which is universally regarded as very unfavorable for a healthy wetland. This next graphic over here on drawing 2 is just simply a diagram showing types and percentages of various areas and coverages. And relative to the EPC's interests, we have this 50-foot upland review line that runs through the middle of the work. And then over here, you have the 50-foot upland review line for the wetlands to the north, the one that's all planted lawn. And so the bottom line is that you have about 890 square feet of proposed activity within the upland review area. I'm going to jump basically towards the end of the drawings. This would be L301, and this is what we're proposing to mitigate the swimming pool. This current wetland area that is all planted lawn, we're proposing returning 70% of it to a rain garden that's going to end up servicing the area. So essentially, we want to restore this wetlands and return it back to what it should be with native plantings. And in that regard, a lot of the post-construction footprint of this site is arguably more environmentally or less environmentally disruptive than existing conditions. And then, of course, this rain garden has been engineered. And here you can see the whole thing on plan. This is the rain garden down here. Proposed pool up here. Wetlands to the south, and of course the wetland area to the north. Thank you again for your time. I give the floor back to you for any questions.
Okay. Michael Urban, would you like to start? Michael?
Yes. I guess my general question to my fellow commissioners is whether we're comfortable with the location of the pool to the actual wetland. Firstly, I apologize. I'm looking to encompass the wetlands to if I'm looking on plan, I'm discussing referencing the wetlands to the left. I can't.
So we'll call that the south wetlands.
Okay, the south wetlands.
Sure.
The planting plan is very impressive. And the hardscape patio area is, I would say, robust as it relates to its proximity to the wetlands. And I guess maybe that's just a starting conversation point with my fellow commissioners if there's a concern with that. That's all.
Okay. Bill, right?
Yeah, I was concerned it was close too. Although, I hate to grade wetlands, but that one to the south is not a super. It's small. It's not. So I'm not as concerned about that one in my mind, and I'm no expert by means, but I understand it is close. I was more the one on the north side, which is you're going to make a rain garden, and maybe you could make Michael happy if you made all 100% of that into wetlands recoup instead of just 70. But I'll just throw that out.
Okay, Jim Millard.
I understand Michael's question, Mr. Chairman, and agree Bill's kind of follow-on comments as he just offered. And I was out there to see the site, not today, but I found myself initially with some of Michael's concerns and less so with a site visit. So I think I'm okay.
Okay. Yeah, I obviously went out and visited the site, and the wetlands there are really basically fairly low quality in terms of what they had. I would support Michael in saying, hey, is there any way they can increase the 75%, Sean, to 100% for those?
70%.
Call it 70%. If they could increase that somewhat, I'd feel a little bit more comfortable. Michael, you want to add something?
I don't, for the record, I have not visited the site, and I don't have anything further to add. If we feel the applicant could improve the wetlands further, if we feel that that's required, I'll default to my commissioners. It was just my observation, seeing the proximity of the wetlands to the south on plan. Again, I did not visit the site, so I can't attest to the severity of the wetlands. Okay, that's it.
Well, Sean, you have a planting plan there, right?
Yes. You're talking about the mitigation plan?
Yes, I understand the north. How about the south?
Well, so the south is not really mitigation. This would just be full-side plantings, nothing invasive, of course. But, prairie fire crabapple, which is actually a food source for native birds. But we have, hydrangeas, some hosta, lilac shrubs, and some liriope, and also some.
I thought I noticed some poison ivy. I thought I noticed some poison ivy there, so you may have to do some. I may have been seeing things, but I thought I saw some poison ivy. So there very clearly are invasives there that, the
ivy, by the way, the poison ivy is not actually invasive, but obviously it's universally hated. But you are correct about something. There is some euonymus shrubs over here.
Yep.
And I did have a discussion with the owner about possibly taking those down. And I would offer that as hopefully an alternative to expanding this wetland. This is quite a robust plan right here, and these things are not easy to execute, as you know. So what I've also done over here is you'll notice there's some existing boulder work that presumably was delineating the south wetland. However, the recent flagging showed, proves otherwise. So I do have a note to rework the boulders to more appropriately delineate the wetlands, thereby protecting it from additional encroachment from lawn maintenance activities, pesticides, so on and so forth. So we are making an effort to do something on this side as well. But this is really quite a rain garden over here at the residential scale. It's pretty
robust.
I mean, if we get much bigger, we'd have to put plaques and walkways and have show groups of students and things. I mean, it would become a almost a nature walk kind of thing. So I felt like
well, that's okay.
I wanted to approach the board hat in hand and with something that was robust and something that would say to you, hey, these guys aren't just trying to squeeze by. So in my opinion, I really felt like we're presenting hopefully what would be regarded as more than adequate.
Mm-hmm. The north side, I understand, but if they could work the south side in something that could be approved by staff, that just to say there are the euonymus there that I'm not a fan of, things like that to just to improve that vision, if you will. And I'll let Sean, you talk to Jeremy, and whatever you two agree with, I'll be fine with.
It's drafted for October.
That's correct. Okay, so we'll draft an approval for October, but in the meantime, my question to Jeremy in October the 6th will be, has Sean talked to you and you've come to some agreement?
And then we'll
you guys will deal
up with some.
You guys can deal with it.
Yep, great.
You okay, Sean?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, the next item of business is EPC 36, 2021, James P. and Elizabeth D. Degnan, 19 Brush Island Road, proposing swimming pool construction in an upland review area. The site is shown on Assessor's Map number 51 as lot number 12. And Tom Nelson, you're representing the applicant.
I am indeed. Good evening, Tom Nelson with Professional Engineer with McCord Engineering. Our office prepared the site development plan for the proposed pool. The property is in the coastal area. It is within 100 feet of Holly Pond, which is why it's before you tonight. It will require a CAM application, and it will be going to public hearing with Planning and Zoning Commission. With that, I will share my screen. This is the 19 Brush Island property. This is the house constructed in 2011. That was permitted through EPC and P&Z in 2010. There's a common driveway along the western edge of the property that serves, I think, 5 total houses now. There's a fairly large tidal wetlands area covering much of the southern portion of the property, and then hugging Holly Pond here to the east. There are no inland wetlands on the property. The house sits more or less on the high point of the lot. The site drains down towards Holly Pond and the tidal wetlands. There's a wooded buffer that currently that is here along Holly Pond between the existing lawn area and Holly Pond. There's also an existing rain garden that was constructed at the time of the house construction, located here, that collects runoff from the majority of the impervious surfaces on the site and allows those to infiltrate into the ground before getting into the tidal wetland system. The proposal is a relatively small 16-foot by 32-foot pool, which also contains the spa area located adjacent to an existing patio. I guess that would be the northeast corner of the existing house. Zooming up on that. There's also a fairly modest patio expansion. So tying into this existing patio, there'll be an additional 350 square feet of patio along the edge of the pool. This is located within an existing lawn area. I did attach some pictures with the application. This is looking out towards Holly Pond. This is the existing patio. This pool will sort of sit adjacent to that. Same view, but looking back towards the house. There's that retaining wall. This is where the pool sits in that lawn area. The goal is really to minimize the site disturbance with this pool. You can see there's sort of a gentle grade. It heads down to an existing yard drain here. The new pool will have low retaining walls on 2 sides to just allow us to catch up to that existing grade without having to do a lot of earthwork. So really, the limit of disturbance will just be just beyond these walls, and then we'll tie back into that existing grade. There's no filling proposed. Any excavation required for the pool will be removed from the site. We will be reconfiguring the existing drainage system. This was the existing yard drain here. That will have to go away, but we're adding some new yard drains that will all tie back in to the existing pipe that goes down to that rain garden, making sure that all that impervious coverage, which is, like I said, just a pretty modest expansion there of the existing patio, will be treated with the existing rain garden. Access to for construction will come behind the house. We have pretty gentle slopes through here. Silt fence proposed to protect the pond and tidal wetlands during construction, and any stockpiling that's might need to take place will happen about as far away from the pond as we can get it out here near the driveway. That's pretty much it. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Michael Urban, we'll start with you.
I don't have any questions at this moment.
Thank you. Bill Wright.
Yeah, I went out there. It would have been nice to have that staked out, mainly at the pool, especially, mainly because that oak tree is phenomenal. And, you know, looking at your plan here, it's pretty close, if just when you're doing a lot of excavation around there. So one, I would have liked to see a stake, and two, I don't know how you're going to protect that oak, but it's a fantastic tree, and it's probably one of the only big trees they've got on the property. So I don't know what you're going to do about that one, but can you guarantee that's not going to get hit? I mean, that's the drip line looks like it's pretty close to where the excavation would be.
So I can offer a couple things on that. We have proposed tree protection fencing to protect that oak. And in addition, well, you really can't see on this plan, but prior to this house construction in 2011, there was formerly a house that sat sort of in the same area that this pool was. So, you know, other than whatever roots would have grown in the last 10 years, we're fairly confident that the root system of this tree primarily exists up on this knoll, because it couldn't have been where the old house was. So I agree, it's a gorgeous tree, and the intention is to preserve it during construction.
Okay, I appreciate that comment. Thank you.
Jim?
That's all I have.
Jim Millard?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had one question. Looking over the packet, I did also get to the site. I'm envious. And we've had recent discussions, Eric, as you know, inside our commission with Rich before he's going on to retire, and Jeremy may know, and this may be a question for you, Jeremy. My only question is an easy one, I believe, but I think it's sensitive to the latest and updated records that we all deal with, which of course can change over time. And therefore, with that as an introduction, I note that for this particular application, we're dealing with a soil and wetland science letter of Otto Thial of August of 2009, 12 years ago. Are we comfortable as a commission? And if the answer from Jeremy is that's within the bounds of good information, of course, I'm fine with everything. That's really what I'm asking to discuss slightly with all of us.
Sure, I can answer that, Jim. I did speak numerous times with Rich about that question, is when we work with applicants such as Tom or other engineers or landscape architects or attorneys, kind of how often do we need to go and re-look at, re-sample, re-investigate? You know, Rich's general timing was, if it's more than 20 years, yeah, you probably should go out, take a look. Sometimes it's the eye test. You go out there and you say, oh yeah, clearly I can see what the wetlands are. It's funny, the last application you saw, Sean Walters referred to the boulders were a delineation line, and maybe that wetlands through a long range It was a low area, and maybe the delineation has changed. So I think in this situation, I would say the 12 years is about right. It's a low-lying area next to Holly Pond. But you're right, Jim. It's there. Rich used to use a combination of not only age of the soil survey, but a combination of what you see when you're out at the site.
All right. Thank you for that, Jeremy. Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions.
No, Tim, my only comments are, I agree with Bill Wright on the oak. That'd be a shame. And if I was the homeowner, I'd want that oak, okay, because it provides nice shade. It's a beautiful tree, and so I'm sure you have to meet his requirements, because I see the owner is on the but you will take care of it. You have things delineated there to be able to keep the what I'll call the oops factor out of when the big equipment comes in, because one of my questions was, you have rain gardens, etc. It's hard to bring heavy duty equipment in there, and it's hard, because you're going to need it, a large backhoe to dig down, etc. So you think you can handle that and protect the oak and protect the rest of the property?
Yeah, it really is the goal. I mean, as I mentioned, we're not trying to really shape much more of this property other than strictly what we need for the pool. I think the front of the property, unfortunately, it's a little steeper. The septic system is there, so I felt like we had to bring equipment in through the back. But it's not the biggest pool. I mean, it's 16 by 32. There's really not a whole lot of other stuff going on there. We can certainly work with the contractors and encourage them not to bring the giant, foundation excavator out. I think a modest side excavator would work on this one. For the extra 4 hours it'll take to dig the pool shell. And beyond that, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, I think it needs to be, the onus is on myself and Mr. Degnan to make sure that tree has the proper protection on it. Because I mean, it's the oops factor that's always, they get too close if that fencing isn't there and swing a bucket around, and that's what we need to avoid.
Yep. So, okay. Other than that, I'm okay with this. So Jeremy, if you could write a draft approval for that, and yep, for October. Yep. I'm okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Okay, moving on in the agenda, we have minutes of August 10, 2021. I guess we've got everybody has the draft that was sent out by Rich, and I know we have Mr. Millard's copious edits, and so given that, anybody have any questions or comments on the minutes?
I do not.
Okay, good. Yeah, I saw you nodding there, Michael. Jim, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of August 10, 2021?
Yes, sir. With no further comments, I'm pleased to make a motion to approve the minutes of the Environmental Protection Commission. It was a special meeting, and that was held on August 10th of this year, 2021.
Great. Bill Wright, can I have a second?
I second it.
Great. Without objection, so moved. Nobody has any other business? Okay. Jim Millard, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes, sir. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting of September 1, 2021 of the Environmental Protection Commission, I'm sorry, regularly scheduled meeting.
Great. Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
All right. Okay, great. Thank you. Without objection, so moved. Gentlemen, we're adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Craig.
Have a good night.